All right, welcome back to Talking Tea, episode 12 of this first season of Andor. We are closing this first season out after what feels like a long time. Are you guys excited about that? Are you excited to move on to season 2? That's the big question.
Very excited for season 2.
Very excited.
Yeah, Aaron, I need you to talk because I'm watching a duel in the middle of this game. So yeah, let's close this out. As always, I'm Eric, drinking white, lush, tropical chai tea.
I was hoping you were just going to stop. This is Eric. I'm drinking.
Connor, what are you drinking?
I have a sparkling water. A better good sparkling water. It is a lime one.
Oh, pinky's out, not just water. Sparkling water. You gotta go big for this one. Aaron, what are we drinking?
Again, I'm not on the tea train tonight. I was a little too hot for hot tea, so I have a lemonade.
Oh, nice. Skylar, what are we bringing to the table?
As always, I have my trusty Diet Coke.
Bottle or can?
It is bottled.
There it is. There it is.
Fully caffeinated.
Gotta be ready. All right, let's get into it so we don't lose any time. Episode 12 is Rick's Road. Let me break it down. Cassian returns to Ferrix for Marva's funeral and learns of Bix's imprisonment from Brasso. Dedra and the local Imperial garrison prepare to use the funeral to take in Andor alive for questioning regarding Luthen, whilst Luthen plans to kill Cassian using the Imperial ambush with Vel and Cinta's assistance. Mon continues being surveyed by the ISB, who succeed in stopping Krieger's attack but leave no prisoners, angering Miro. Mothma's 13-year-old daughter Lita is introduced to Davos Golden's 14-year-old son. During the funeral, B2EMO displays a recording of Marva, who rallies the populace to attack the Empire, creating a riot in the main quarter. During the confusion, Cassian rescues Bix, whilst Karn, Cyril, saves Miro from being attacked. Meeting with B, Brasso, and several others in a shipyard, Cassian has them take Bix somewhere safe off Ferrix. Moved by the rebellion on Ferrix, Luthen returns to his ship where Cassian is waiting. Knowing that Luthen was there to assassinate him, Cassian offers Luthen to either kill him or take him in, to which Luthen smiles. In a post-credit scene, droids assemble the machinery produced by Narkina 5 droids are prisoners on the firing section of an Imperial superweapon. All right. Let's get into it. So, as we dive in, we're starting on Ferrix, and we see Dedra land on Ferrix, and we see Pax's son working on something, and we see his father has been definitely hung, is what I wrote down. I think it was ambiguous at the beginning when they took him in, but now he's definitely dead. Zan tells Brasso that Cassian has called and is aware of Marva's death. And we have Korv actually back walking around with Dedra, a.k.a. Little Red Riding Hood, as she is hooded up, walking the grounds with Cinta following them. I wrote down the boots on the ground is already beginning. You're seeing all the big players come together. And then we see the guy Cassian owed money is lurking. He's getting Zan drunk to find out information about Cassian. The first thing I have on Ferrix, the first question I have, any opinions on the Cassian snitch that tried to taint our guy Vetch? Any thoughts? Did you recognize he was trying to what he was trying to do? Did you think it was all for like personal revenge, or what did you guys think about this snob? Skylar, sorry, I'll start with you.
I too am interested in what Skylar has to say.
So, beginning of the scene, it really feels like he's trying to dig for information, but then he like really throws it off at the end by saying, "Whatever you have or whatever you know, like keep me out of it. Like don't tell me anything you know," which was very confusing at the time. I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts about that.
Oh, I got some thoughts for you.
Oh, just go ahead and elaborate, Connor.
I mean, I think that was just master manipulation on his part. Like, he was trying to pretend like, oh, I don't actually want to know this information, but secretly, he 100% wanted more information. but he didn't want to be overt. You know, he was trying to be covert.
I like that rhyming. Aaron, any thoughts on the dweeb that is this snob?
I still don't really know what his deal is, but I definitely agree. He's doing the classic uh, like parental thing, like I don't want you to tell me this, and you know.
My question was early on in the episode was I knew that he wanted the information for himself, but I didn't know if he wanted it for like the bounty that was set for Cassian, or if he had like some kind of vendetta, or like even though Cassian paid off his debt, if there was something like he took too long and he was gonna, you know, get onto him or something. So that was my thought. I
had written down, I wrote, obviously this guy didn't get the money Cassian left for him, because he came back and like left all that money. I thought maybe it was like he didn't get the money and he's like, this guy still owes me, but maybe he's just like that horrible of a guy. But that's where my thought went, because Cassian dropped all that cash off and, you know, disappeared again, but maybe they just didn't get this guy his share.
Yeah, so that's where my logic was too. I didn't know if it was for the bounty or for the debt.
Yeah, that's fair. So I don't know. I think this guy just sucks. That's just my opinion. I think, you know, even if he had the money, I think he never did like Cassian, and he's just trying to get him in a pickle, you know, in a bad spot. So I don't know. Let's move to Coruscant and try to be a little rapid. We get Mon. So Mon's in the back of her car, and right away, I don't know if anyone caught this, maybe I'm reading too much into this, her collar's on and she kind of opens it up, kind of pulls it away, is kind of tugging at it right as the scene begins. I said maybe being choked by the situation she's in, you know, feeling like she's stuck, she's kind of gripped in a place that she feels so uncomfortable, so she's like ripping that collar out, kind of opening up her collar, and then she asks for privacy to just absolutely shame Punchable Perrin, and we see Cloris immediately starts listening in again, the driver, and I just wrote down Punchable Perrin brother is a degenerate gambler. Mon tells him to go to Canto Bight. Anyone want to tell me where Canto Bight is featured in the Star Wars universe?
It's the worst movie beat they've ever done.
That is correct. It is featured heavily in The Last Jedi as that ritzy place that they go to, and just a horrible movie. But yeah, that is the well-known like casino planet in the world, in the universe of Star Wars, is Canto Bight. And I said
Space Vegas, if you will.
Yes, Space Vegas is a great moniker for it. Now, Punchable Perrin seems generally defensive about this. So, fact or fiction, starting with Skylar, Perrin is indeed gambling money away. Fact or fiction?
I think that's fact.
Okay. What makes you say?
Just his character arc overall, he has never really been truthful and always just seems slimy. So even though he does get very defensive in this scene, I think it's just a ploy and he is legitimately gambling.
Okay, Aaron, fact or fiction? Perrin is gambling this money away.
I struggle to know whether it's fact or fiction. I think that part of me would say that it's, you know, kind of what Skylar's saying, facts, and he's just such a good liar that it's like it seems genuine, but he actually is. I think I more lean towards that Mon is actually using, like, I bet he has in the past. I think she might be using this as a possible like setup for an out for this whole money thing, like we kind of speculated last episode. Like, why didn't we just say, like, blame it on Perrin and his gambling or whatever, you know? And I think possibly she knows that the driver might be listening in, even when she tells him not to, and is setting it up as a, you know, in case her other plan falls through, she's got a possible backup.
Connor, fact or fiction?
It's 100% fiction. I think Aaron's on the right track. I think she was. I even think her taking off like the collar and everything was her starting her act, and she was just like, because like she is very well put together, and when she did that, it was just further selling. Like, oh, how could you do this to me, Perrin? You promised you wouldn't do it anymore. And I think his reaction is genuine. I think he's like, wait, who the heck is telling you this? Like, I didn't. I understand our deal. I haven't been gambling at all, and she found the out and she knew that he was listening in. I think she knew that she was being watched from the earlier episodes in the season. So I think it was, my notes just say from the senator, I just put well played. I think she played everybody like a fiddle in this, and it was very convincing.
I agree. This is fiction, in my opinion. Now, this is probably not shocking for the listeners that know me so well, because I am indeed too trustworthy to all these characters. So, just like last episode, I just assume that people are telling the truth, and I feel like Perrin is indeed telling the truth. I think he is surprised. He's fighting this. He's shocked. So that's where I landed. I think she's trying to play it off because she knows her driver's an ISB plant. She mentioned that in earlier episodes to Luthen, and I think she plays it well. So, follow-up question. Mon as a wife. We asked this question before. Good wife or bad wife? Skylar.
I think she just generally loathes Perrin, so probably not the best wife. Better mother, but not the best wife.
Aaron?
I would say probably not a great wife, but it's hard to say because we're kind of getting dropped into like the middle of this where there's been years of like basically this arranged marriage that hasn't been going well, So I think that she is probably not like doing the best as a wife, but also like we haven't seen the potential of like years of her like trying to do her best and just not working out, and finally she's like, all right, whatever, like if no one else is gonna try, then why am I?
Fair. Connor, what do you think?
I think she's a realist. I think this entire marriage has been, it was planned from the beginning. I think Perrin and the senator knew going in that there was no love in this. This was strictly a business ordeal, as is their culture, and it just is what it is. I don't think she had any love lost, and as a result of Perrin treating her like crap, she's just like, listen, I have no loyalty to you from what you've done to me in general. So yeah, I don't even think it's really even fair to call her. I don't even think she really views herself as a wife. So I think she just views her as a partner in this forced upon union. So
Do you think that all marriages are in Chandrila for power, or do you think they're just all arranged marriages, with some being for power, just some being just generally arranged?
I mean, I think all, arranged marriages in this culture, it seems to be for the benefit of both parties. So I think both can be true at the same time.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to Ferrix. And we have the dichotomy of Cinta and Vel. So we see Cinta is just locked in. Like, she is looking in the window. She walks right by Vel. She said, hey, I know about this ISB guy. Dedra is here. It's so important that we kill Andor before ISB gets to him. And then you just see Vel, who is just kind of, miffed that Cinta's so into the assignment, and she just wants a little bit of companionship. I wrote down, it calls back to Vel as a leader. Is she too attached? As a leader of like these rebellions, shouldn't she be more into what's going on? Or is this just a typical weakness of someone that, might be in this situation? I like to dunk on Vel, so I think this is, again, why maybe she's not the best leader, that she's not solely focused on what she needs to be focused on. But Skylar, what do you think?
You definitely see the dichotomy there, that Vel is kind of love first, mission second, and Cinta's very much mission first, very much locked in, and love kind of. It's nice to have when they're not like in the middle of a mission. So it's very interesting, but I definitely agree that it's kind of Tavel's downfall on her being a great leader when it comes to the rebellion. That she's more focused on getting Cinta's affection versus what they're there to do, which is unfortunately to try to kill Cassian.
Right. Connor, what do you think?
I think you guys summed it up really well. I agree with the few points.
Aaron, anything to add?
Not really. I think that you're pretty much right. Maybe, in my opinion, like they could meet in the middle a little bit, but I mean, yeah, I think pretty much nailed both the characters.
Got it. So it appears that Andor is about to make the worst decision ever. And should Andor know everyone is looking for him at this point? Or is this a surprise? Like, is this something he should consider, that this would be, something they care about? Probably. You know what? I want to hear your thoughts. Connor, I'll start with you. Do you think Andor should think about this and think that maybe people are after him?
I think 100% he knows that people are after him, but to this level, that I can't speak to, because I mean he just escaped from prison too, so he knows he's being looked at. But I think emotions just took him, understandably, took over here, because like his mother figure passed away, so he is more focused on that. I think that's kind of my view on that.
Aaron?
I might be forgetting something, but do we have any reason for him to know that Luthen and them are trying to kill him?
No, I mean, not that I'm aware of, because you just think of the facts. Like, obviously he got out, but he's been in, I don't know how long he was at Narkina 5, but he'd been there a while. I don't think there's any reason he would know that people are looking for him.
Yeah, I would assume he probably thinks that they're looking for him as like an escaped prisoner or whatever, but he probably has no idea that there's like multiple large scale manhunts out for him. Especially, he probably would assume that Luthen's just like, you made your money, you did your job, we're done,
Just to interject here, don't forget that Andor didn't go to jail. Clem did.
Thank you. That is fair.
Identity. So his escape and everything technically is an Andor. Now he's still wanted for the murder of the or not the ISB, but the security guys from the very first episode. But other than that, I mean, I don't think he has any real reason to think that the ISB's looking for him or any of that.
So right after that, we get a flashback to him and Clem, speaking of that. And the question really comes in, is this like, what is the significance of this flashback? They're talking about fixing these old systems, right? And selling them instead of buying new ones. What is the significance? It might be something I'm just missing. What is the significance of this flashback?
He found the brick that his father figure was at, and that's really the only thing I took that. He was recalling his father figure's memory. I do have a side note on that scene though. The little parts that they're washing are computer CPU coolers. It's very apparent as to what they are in the real world.
Nice.
But not in the actual Star Wars universe.
All right. Aaron, Connor, any thoughts on is it just him touching the brick, but is there anything to the fixing the old system instead of buying the new one?
I didn't really catch anything in that.
Yeah, same. I didn't notice anything.
Okay. I didn't either. I think it's safe to just say he's getting that core memory. But then we go to...
The only, the only thing I could see into that is he's thinking of an allegory to the Republic, the way things used to be before the Empire, and then how the new system is. Everyone just accepts that for what it is instead of valuing the old ways, type of thing.
That could be great. Honest, anyone in the comments, just leave us your thoughts. If we miss something, that'd be helpful. So Andor jumps into Pelga's yard, finds out about Bix, and then we get him listening to Nemik's manifesto, aka the Will of the Eye is what I used to call it. And it makes an appearance, and I'm going to read, so there's different lines that are spoken, and then you see different characters. So I'm going to maybe summarize on some of these. So you hear Nemik say, times where the struggle seems impossible, alone, unsure, that is when we see Bix, which, makes sense. She's in prison. She's been beaten up. It's, it's very hard to say, is this for sure or not, like what's going on. And, with her, she's probably in that state of it seems impossible. The next line, it's freedom is a pure idea. Random acts of insurrection are occurring throughout the galaxy. That is Luthen, which makes sense. The puppet master having all these acts of insurrection that he's coordinating would be a great example, in my opinion. And then the last one is tyranny requires constant effort. It's unnatural. Oppression is the mask of fear. One single thing will break the siege. Try. And what is that one single thing? I think it's Cassian, and that's who we see during that line. So I think it's intentional what people are shown at those different lines and how they kind of connect, but I didn't know if you guys caught that or thought anything of that situation.
I definitely think you're on the right track.
I appreciate your support.
I'd agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I like your take on all of it, except the last thing. I think, while I do like your explanation that it could be specifying Andor himself, but I also think it's what we're about to see happen is that spark, ignite.
Got it.
The events that are coming in the episode.
Got it. Yeah. So we see here, talking about that, we get the kind of the outline of what's going to happen, the plan for the funeral, midday, no more than 40 people, and Dedra's clear, no snipers wants Andor alive. And then we go back to Coruscant, and we find that Cloris is indeed a sniveling little lackey for Blevin, and they're determining that why Mon was so upset and how she's of great interest. And they quote, they've made some odd banking moves lately. This would explain it, this being the gambling. So this is where I think it kind of ties back together to say I don't think he was gambling. I think it's just manipulation at its finest by one of the best senators that people don't think much about. So I think this is pure. But then they go and they're celebrating Krieger's defeat. And you can see that Lonnie is just not that thrilled about this. He is kind of a gasp about it. But then they mention that everyone's excited except Dedra is upset, and they're like, of course she is. And I said, again, she makes a good point. Like, if they didn't kill everyone, if they would have captured Krieger, they'd actually get evidence to find out he's not Axis, and that further, do the best we could to kind of solve the situation of the Axis question. But I think this is why, into the season 2 where I don't know anything about, I think this is why Dedra will probably fail as an ISB agent. Something will happen. She'll be fired. She'll be demoted. She'll be killed. I don't know. But I think it's the fact that she's not fully devoted to the fact that the Empire is just unpenetrable. You know what I mean? I think they just think, listen, we are just trying to prove a point. We're trying to do everything we can. And we are unbeatable. And she wants to make sure, well, let's keep it that way. And otherwise, they just don't agree. What do you guys think? Do you think they should have captured? Do you think I'm giving Dedra too much credit? What do you guys think?
I think you're probably right. I mean, probably more used to them alive than dead, obviously. But again, it might go back to like what they say in the prison, the line we talked about a lot last episode, power doesn't panic. Well, a lot of these people in the ISB think they have all the power, so they're very lackadaisical about what they're doing, like, and how they're doing it. Really, not even necessarily what they're doing, but just like, we'll kill them all, whatever.
Skylar, any thoughts on Dedra, or just like she's just doing her thing and nothing more, nothing less?
I think obviously, like, anyone in that situation, especially in an intelligence role, would want to take prisoners and
yeah. Except for anyone there. Except for anyone except for her.
Apparently. But the main supervisor who's in charge of all of them, Partagas, that's the one, said, like, this was about getting the taste of Aldani out of the Emperor's mouth. And we all know how the Emperor is. He'd slaughter everyone and call it a day.
Yeah.
Crush all opposition.
Yeah.
So I think that really explains their thought process on just wiping out Krieger's men versus taking any of them alive.
That's fair. The last part of the scene I find interesting. He says, you want to start a dialogue? Find Axis. Do you know what the immediate next scene is? Luthen stepping out of the Vondor. Love this show. Just every time, it's like, let's just keep connecting. Let's just keep connecting. If you got to find him, well, here he is. Next camera shot. So we go back to Ferrix. Brasso hits him with a fake out, and they are surprised that he is not stepping out of the building, and he actually is going to speak to Cass. And he says he has to go find Bix, and he can't leave her. And Brasso says, you're going to take on a garrison? And Andor's probably like, oh yeah, I've done that already, actually. No, now that you mention it. Which echoes back to him questioning Vel the first time. He said, you're going to take on an entire garrison? It's like poetry. Cue the George Lucas quote. It's all full circle. So, yeah, he's going to take on an entire garrison to save Bix. And then we get our favorite duo. We get Cyril Karn and Linus coming back, and they're trading hats. They don't say words, just like, give me my hat back. I want my hat. So I laugh at that. What do you think the conversation is to get Linus to come with Karn, Connor? Like, what do you think Cyril said? Just like, hey, I need you to come. Or is he like, hey, you want to hang out? And he's just like, whatever you want, man. I don't care one bit. Like, do you think it took any convincing to get Linus back to Ferrix?
I am just, this duo is just so confusing to me, because I genuinely thought when I saw this guy at the beginning, like, I'll never forget when, like, that dude tried to give the speech and he goes, very inspiring, sir. I was like, okay, this guy is just trolling him. And now I'm like, no, this guy is, like, fully loyal to this guy. I mean, and it's just, I don't understand. I really don't. Like, what he sees in him, or why maybe he just respects the chain of command, but I every time I see these two, I'm just like, this is like, I don't want to say Dumb and Dumber, but I mean, like,
no, you couldn't say Dumb and Dumber to our boy Linus.
Yeah, but man, it is, yeah, it's a quandary to me. I can't figure him out.
It's just he's absolutely loyal to a fault. It would be what I would say about our friend Linus. Going back to the place that it all went so horribly wrong for Cyril Karn, and he's like, yeah, I'll go back, no problem. The guy that literally bested us, yeah, I'm game, man. So, even after the last time Linus saw him was just a disaster of leadership, doesn't bother him. Like, ride or die is what they call it nowadays, and Linus is ride or die. So, then we see Luthen and Vel discussing how Andor needs killed. I wrote down, Luthen is forever the optimist. She said, she's talking about how Vel is talking about how everyone's looking for him, and he's like, that's good. And she's like, how could this possibly be good? He's like, well, because now we don't have to look for him. They want him alive. We'll just when they capture him, we'll just shoot him. I'm like, Luthen, always seeing it glass half full, I would argue. So, yeah, I just laugh at that. Also, I have to make a correction. I've been calling this guy Gong guy. It's wrong. It's Anvil guy. I apologize to Anvil guy for misappropriating him. That was unfair on my part. But we get Anvil guy, who again just living it up, just smashing that anvil, and getting ready for the funeral. Which, if you listen back, I'm pretty certain their warm-up song is the Star Wars main theme. It's just played really poorly. Like, yeah, I think it's that. Go back and listen. Tell me I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what they warm up. That's what they're warming up. And then they go to the streets, and you can see, obviously, there is a lot more than 40 people at this funeral, to say the least. They did not vet the situation well, like they thought they did. And you have everyone marching. You have Andor sitting in a tower, and he sees the ISB, he sees Luthen. Do you think at that moment he recognizes, oh, this guy's coming to kill me? Connor, what do you think? Do you think he recognizes that Luthen is there to kill him?
No, I don't. I think he was just like shocked to see him. I don't know why he would think that he's there to kill him.
Aaron,
hot take.
oh yeah.
I think that he immediately clocks that Luthen's there to kill him. Just the like look on his face, and he knows that all the Empire's there, the ISB's there. He knows, Andor knows that he knows too much about Luthen, and the only logical reason Luthen would be there would be to find Andor and take him out.
Aaron, what say you?
I think that I don't know if he knew like he was there to kill him, but I definitely think he had to know something's up. You know, like because Luthen doesn't like show up to these things for no reason. Like it's not like he's just there to pay respect to his grandma, you know, or his mom or whatever.
Right.
Like he's there for a reason, and Andor doesn't know why, so it's probably something to be wary of.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not like looking around, you know. It's not like he's like, hey, I'm looking for my friend, Cassian. He is hooded. He is like trying to be very conspicuous in the matter. You know, I think you're right. I think he knows, and I think that's why later on we see him have that conversation. But man, I think no matter what, he's confused and looking around like, what is going on in this situation? And then we see the clown that tries to taint Vetch is working with the ISB to get reward for Andor. And they know he's in that building because of the snitch who tried to weasel his way into double the reward at that moment. And I wrote down likely just going to get a bullet in the back of his head and no brick. He's definitely not getting a brick in the wall. That's all I have to say. But you see the boots on the ground starting to come together. They're looking for Andor. Linus and Karn show up to the funeral. Dedra's there, and as she walks toward Andor, everyone sees her. Andor sees Dedra coming. Luthen sees Dedra going to her, and Karn sees it. And then you just see Karn is mesmerized, like absolutely mesmerized, and he tries to take a step forward, and then you see Linus say, "Sir, you can't go." Again, calling back to that level of, in my opinion, like absolute like loyalty. Like this guy is the worst leader we've seen, and Linus is still like that's still my CO, that's still my commanding officer, even though he's been terrible, which I just respect the crap out of. Let's see. And then
Fergus,
go ahead.
real quick.
Yeah.
To rewind a second, someone said about the funeral being not very vetted very well because there's way more than 40 people. My take on that is Luthen asks Vel when the funeral's going to start, and she says, "Oh, not for a few more hours." I think it was very intentional because right as she says that, the funeral starts. So I think it was very organized to be against the Empire, to have everyone in this city and on Ferrix to be at the funeral like they wanted at the time they wanted originally and the way they wanted to do it. That's just my take on the situation, but curious on everyone else's thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have any. Aaron, do you have a thought?
Not really. I will say we're at 35 minutes, by the way, just for a time call out.
Thank you for the time call out, sir. Connor, any thoughts?
No, not really on that one.
Got it. Well, leave it to me, Skylar, honestly. I'm joking. So, as Korv actually goes up to kill Andor, Andor's already escaped through the grate. He's in the hotel to free Bix. I love this interaction. He goes through the kitchen or whatever and pulls a gun on a guy he knows. And then as he runs away, the guy goes, "Sorry about your mother." It's like, you know what? Very nice guy. He has a gun put to his head, and he's like, still, I do want to apologize about your mother. So I really respected that out of that guy. So just a little note. But then we get the Marva monologue. Now, we have B, who has to broadcast this, which I didn't know Ground Mechs did, but that's cool. That he broadcast her speech. And essentially she talks about how Ferrix forgot about the Empire and she tried to ignore them, but now she's urging them to fight. The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. The opposite, by the way, of how they describe themselves, as a healthcare provider. If you remember that one, the Empire is a healthcare provider. No, they're an actual disease. They are the opposite of a healthcare provider. And as she makes her final decree, I call this guy Percy. I don't know his real name because he's a prefect. Percy the prefect literally gets so angry. He's like, enough of this. And he has this giant jacket, but he can't cover the little tiny hole that is broadcasting this because she screams out, like, fight the Empire. And the guy gets mad, flips B, and then we get pandemonium. Because our boy Brasso said, I know you didn't just treat my boy B like that. So he flips him, hits him with a one-leg stunner, kicks him in the chest, smacks another dude with Marva's brick, and then just screams in triumph. I'm like, this is a great start to a riot. If I've ever seen a riot, this would be the way you start it. Just Brasso at his finest point, man. Now everyone's rioting in this situation. Percy somehow gets back behind enemy lines, which I hate. They should have taken him captive for all that there was going on. Andor has found Bix. She's traumatized. And then Pax's son's like, you know what? Good time for a pipe bomb. Just chucks that sucker and causes a full chain reaction of grenades going off. What are you guys thinking in this situation? Is it information overload at this point that the pipe bomb really did it? I was like, there's so much going on. The pipe bomb goes and then the grenades that go with it. I'm like, oh, this really got out of hand. This really escalated quickly. Connor, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I actually had a couple thoughts on this one. So I found it absolutely hilarious that Commander, when he tried to go up, he's like, okay, enough of this, and I want to go cover it. And he does. He has this massive coat, and he's like, I'm covering this up. We're done. And he screws it up.
Yeah, he misses.
I put 4 face palms on my notes. I was like, what an actual moron. The worst part. And then it's right when you're trying to cover up the rebellion, they fight back. And I was like, man, what an idiot.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Yeah, and then when he flips the ground mech over, I was like, wow. I was like, that was a massive, massive bad mood. I put in all caps, nobody messes with my ground mech. And it's just full pandemonium. My last point was, the funniest part for me was in the middle of this entire riot, you see one of the commanders just see Anvil guy and go, you know what? Go handle that guy. I'm sick of him. I don't care about this riot. That Anvil is ticking me off. I want this taken care of. And then later oh man. Well, I won't spoil when we get to the end.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, oh, that was the part I laughed at. The middle of the riot, they're almost getting their line broke, and he just sees the Anvil in the distance. He's like, I'm done with that guy. Go get him.
Yeah, I've tolerated that man for too long.
So that was my thoughts.
What other thoughts do we have on anyone on this situation?
I liked that. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Mine's mostly about Marva's speech. First off,
Yeah, go ahead.
absolute awe-inspiring speech. Very well done. Very cinematic.
From the grave.
And from the grave. And second off, at the very end of her speech, when the prefect absolutely botches putting the cape on top of B, anyone else get a little bit of symbolism there when only half her face is covered? You know, like our main man Darth Vader, who's helping rule the Empire. She has half her face shown, half of it gone, as she gives a fiery speech to rise up against the Empire. Any thoughts there?
That did not click. Nothing clicked with me there until you said something. So, yeah, interesting thought. I thought there would be something about the half shine, but maybe I couldn't think of anything.
Other than that, that's all I got on that.
Yeah.
The only thing I was gonna say, I thought it was funny that, like the last thing she says is like fight the Empire, and then like the first, I'm assuming casualty. I'm assuming Brasso kills that guy with the brick.
Oh, I hope so.
The first thing that happens in the riot is like a brick made out of her literal body is used to like kill a guy in the riot. You know.
Yeah, she said
like, she'd be proud.
Yeah, she said, "I can't fight from the grave." Oh no, you can. Just put,
Wrongo.
Yeah, let Brasso wield you, and he's gonna inflict some damage.
He's also like the nicest guy until this very moment, and then he's just an instrument of death.
His scream is so funny, and I can imagine you dominate like that. Like you gotta feel that like cathartic rage, in my opinion. So awesome moment. But yeah, so, I mean, it becomes a full-on riot. Everyone has recovered now from the grenades, and they're like, you know what? Let's just shoot everyone. And they just go crazy. They start shooting people. Zan killed, old lady murdered, Brasso still kicking butt. Sinta shivs the dude. And what I wrote down as the most cold-blooded person from Aldani squad, no doubt, was Sinta. She absolutely bludgeons that dude, and he did not even know what hit him. I mean, literally, and then just shuts the door. Like, no, I'm just hide that. That's no problem. She eventually says, like, Vel is like, there's blood on you. She's like, yeah, it's not mine. I'm like, dang, that's cold. That is cold. And then Andor, he kills the stormtrooper, sees the snitch is dead. That was the first time I got to, like, actually be excited. I was like, yes, that guy's gone. We don't need to worry about him anymore. Someone throws something at Dedra's head, just as like, you know what? I'm just in a riot. You chuck things. So finally, she has faced any opposition, because I felt like this entire time, she never has any, like, you know, like adversaries. She's just like walking through life, no problem. Everything's working out for her. And then for some reason, everyone just piles on her. They're like, get her! And guess who comes to save the day? Our boy Karn. And I wrote down, is this a Dedra Karn love moment? He quickly gets her out of the crowd from people who want to harm her, diverts her, and she's just trembling, and he's holding her. And she can't speak for a bit, and then she goes, I should say thank you. And then we note, of course, she doesn't. She can't say it. Like, it's just not a part of her character. And he says, you know, you don't have to. This is the first time I wrote down Karn is actually cool. Like, this moment is like his suavest moment when she's like at her weakest point. But am I reading too much into this? Is this a love moment? Am I wrong? Connor, your thoughts?
Yeah, he's madly in love with her.
Well, he is, but is this a first time it's like reciprocated?
Oh, I don't think it's reciprocated.
Okay.
I think she's just caught up in the moment. You know, I mean, she did just get, full on attacked and hit in the head. So this is kind of a shock factor that, oh man, I really am in a war. It's not just people are brought to me and I can, just play with them until I can get what I want from them. Like, this is a big deal. So I think that was kind of a shock for her. But even in her like rawest moment where she was her most vulnerable, she still was able to keep her wits about her when it came to him and was like, pass.
Oh, sorry, I've been muted. So you don't even think for an inkling she thought about, like, you like, maybe this is the first time she's thought about it. Maybe, like, she'll walk away and be like, that guy. Like, there's no, like, heroism that has changed her mind at all. You don't think there's, like, a nick in the armor of, like, maybe I'll consider this?
Maybe for a fraction of a second, but then I think it was immediately overshadowed. I was like, I think I'm probably going to be able to manipulate this guy because he is so obsessed with me. And he's
Dang.
going to be a forever loyal pawn.
Aaron, is this a love moment? A mutual love moment?
I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But I mean, there's no doubt that, like what Connor said, she is in a very, like, shaken moment.
Yes.
But still, like, just barely keeps her cool.
Yep.
So.
Skylar, love moment or not?
When I first watched this episode for the very first time, I thought there was an inkling of a moment between them, but obviously I had no idea how it plays out, or had no idea how it would play out, so I wasn't super hung up on it at the time.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how it plays out, so
Neither do I.
I guess we'll find out. I guess
I'd
we
be
all
okay
will.
if I'm wrong too.
Yeah,
I'd be okay if they got together.
I hope they
Maybe
do.
that softens her a little bit, you know, and
She leaves the life of ISB,
yeah,
retires.
becomes a rebel. Yeah, be crazy.
No, just retires at, like, Canto Bight. She's like,
Yeah, I don't think there's
Professional
any
gangster.
universe where she'd be allowed to be a rebel after everything that she has done.
yeah, they might shoot her on the spot. So then we see Luthen is just sitting there, and he realizes this didn't work. You see Brasso, you see Pax Kid, you see a daughter of Ferrix and Bix. They all go to a ship. Andor pulls them, and he tells them, stay low until they get to the water. And then we get, for the last time of the season, climb! Calling back to Nemik. We get another climb. Calling back to Kino Loy. Another climb. So, love that. If you watch the ship take off, the pilot does not do anything he says. They just take off. They just go right up into the sky. So, did not like that moment. They did not pay attention to him at all. But that's okay. So, everyone gets out for the main part of this. We go back to Coruscant for a moment, and we're kind of wrapping everything up. And we get the Chandrillan meetup. And we see Mon, Perrin, and her daughter meet Davos Scaldin and his son, and then his wife. And I had one Harry Potter quote in my head, Connor. I have no idea if this is going to stick, but I hope you can think of it. Seamus Finnegan says one thing that I'm like, this is very applicable in this situation. In the Goblet of Fire. Do you know what quote I'm going for in this scene? Aaron, you might too.
Goblet of
I
Fire.
have no idea.
Is it
As a guy
Shush
who watched-
when he kisses the egg?
I immediately thought, that is one big lady. Because his wife is so tall. She's so tall. She's taller than everyone in that scene. I'm like, dang, she is one big lady. So we see that, and that's all we see is that cutaway of them meeting, and her daughter looks genuinely happy, in my opinion. Like, looks like, yeah, this is a legit, like, this is happening type of thing. And then we go back to Ferrix. Linus has resorted to drinking again, unfortunately. That's a sad tale for him. No idea what his plan was or is for Karn and him anyway. He's not with Karn. He's just, like, sitting around. I'm like, really no idea what the idea was there, but nonetheless. And then you see Luthen speeding away, and Andor's on his ship. Finally one step ahead of Luthen, which is no one is one step ahead of Luthen. And he says, kill me or take me in. That's the game. And Luthen smiles. And then I wrote down, and now the show begins, baby. We now are diving into the meat of it all, with Cassian now being fully entrenched on not just him, but what he can do for the greater good. Any thoughts? What do we have to wrap this episode up? What did I miss? What did you guys want to discuss?
Only thing I have is, I think a big turning point for Luthen about killing Andor was watching Marva's speech. I think that speech really got to him and showed him, like, what Andor is really about, and like kind of confirms his original thoughts that Andor would be a very big asset to the rebellion. So I think that's what actually shifts his motive for killing him.
I wonder. Yeah. Connor, what questions, what lingering thoughts do you have on the episode and the season, really?
I'll try and hit this real quick. I think the scene where she was meeting the other boy for the first time, I think that just kind of proved all of my thoughts from the last episode. I think she genuinely, like, she's doing it because it's kind of what she believes in. I think also this is me trying to be kind of a critic and look into it. It's probably the colors of their planet or their system or whatever, but I noticed that she was wearing white, and for me that was like a subtle, like, oh yeah, they're 100% getting married. Like, she's all in. And I think that there'll be a marriage coming that way unless something happens. And then my final note was the Fondor. It's the first time it's let me down, because he gets on and he immediately says go full stealth mode, and it doesn't respond to him. And when it doesn't respond, he knew something was up. But I was like, man, how did Cassian flip the ship so that it didn't listen to, it like only listened to Cassian at that point? I found that very interesting.
Yeah, I took it as like, yeah, he essentially, and he had been on the Fondor, so, you know, it's not like he had never seen the ship, so I wonder if he kind of knew something or saw how he operated it when he was on it the first time. I don't know. But yeah, the Fondor did let him down. It wasn't impenetrable, I guess, in that scenario. Aaron, what's your thoughts? What's your lingering questions on the episode?
I'll try to go pretty quick. We got about 8 minutes left for like kind of a preview of season 2. But basically, my only thought going out of this season was like that final speech and Cassian listening to that final speech. And whenever you think about like the last time he sees Marva, she's like kind of tells him that, or no, it was Brasso that tells him that Marva said that like everything he needs is already inside him, or basically like that. And I think that brings it out of him, you know, like that final speech, and then seeing the Empire try to like silence his mom, basically, really gave him that final push over. So this whole season was kind of his journey to becoming a rebel, and now going into season 2, we can hopefully see him as a rebel, you know.
Yeah. So let's cross that bridge. What happens next? I'm going to leave this to Connor and I to discuss, like what we think happens next. So Connor, I don't know if you've thought about this. I can go first. Here's my thoughts. Season 2, what do we expect? Obviously, I think the expectation is we're going to lead... Wow, shoot. Can someone dive in? And this is embarrassing as the host. I did not see the cutscene. I didn't
cutscene either.
I didn't know about this cutscene. Aaron, did you see the cutscene?
Is in the cutscene just the robots putting the Death Star parts on?
Yes. So are they putting, like, do we see the Death Star in the cutscene?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can definitely tell that it is the Death Star. It kind of starts like zoomed up, and then it zooms out to the point where you can tell that it's like the pieces are being put on like the ring of the Death Star. Which
I think we were dead on when we discussed what are they making in Narkina 5. I believe we were right. We said that it would be pieces for the Death Star, and nailed that. So, but let's everyone go back and make sure you watch that cutscene. But season 2, my expectation is, of course, we're gonna see the Death Star, plans be found out by Luthen, and man, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see them realize what's happening. I think that's going to be very thrilling. I think we're going to see basically the team up of who's going to where are the Death Star plans housed? Bothan? Oh, I can't remember. This is horrible of me. But I think we're going to see that team come together. I think we're going to see maybe Melshi come together. back again with Cassian. I think we're going to see, in my opinion, we're going to see Vel's death. We're going to see Luthen's death. We're going to see Dedra's death. I think all that will come about in season 3. Hopefully, I hope we see the downfall of Punchable Perrin and Mon's escape from politics. And then I had written down as well, Connor, I believe we might see the marriage of Mon's daughter. What do you think? What are you hoping, or what do you think is going to be next season?
Yeah, this is a really good question, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna try and answer it on the fly because I didn't really have this prepared. I will say I had a gut reaction when you said Luthen. I really hope Luthen doesn't die. I don't know if that's like a foregone conclusion that he does. I don't know from the previous Star Wars, but I will say, like, I think the team of Luthen and Cassian together, I think that is like a deadly duo. Because now it's not going to be like him just being recruited. I think they're going to work together, and I think that is just going to be a sick team. I'm really excited to see how that works out. I hope we see them on screen a lot together. I do think we probably see more about like the marriage stuff. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I definitely think we'll see more. And I'm interested to see how Bix comes back into it. Like, I don't know, because like he said, she was like, oh, he'll find us. And I hope we see B more. Like, I hope he's not sad all the time, because that poor guy, he's always getting left and like not getting what he wants. I hope we see B like almost become like the R2-D2 for Cassian, like while he's on his adventures.
Man, that would be crazy. Going from like a stuttery scare to becoming like the glue of the team, that'd be sick. I don't know. So I just expect Luthen to die because obviously we don't see him anywhere else, and he seems too big of a character that could just disappear into the night. So yeah. I'm fully bracing for that. I'm very much hoping for Vel's death, and I'm expecting. I don't know if Dedra will die, but I do think there's going to be some falling from grace. I think, I don't know. I mean, I think Karn will keep on his bloodlust for Cassian, and that might kill him. I expect so many. I expect death because we just don't know these characters. I mean, the only one I can guarantee you is I bet Cassian lives through the end of the season. I bet he makes it through.
I'll put money on Mon Mothma surviving as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good bet. That is a good bet. I'd take the odds on that too. Yeah, that she's
Everybody
making
else
it.
is fair game.
Yeah, I mean we know Mon makes it. We know she's featured in episode 4. We know Cassian makes it through to Rogue One, and there's just so much more open. Connor, yes or no gut reaction? Do we see Kino Loy again?
I don't even know who Kino Loy is.
You're talking about
your favorite character.
Your Schmeagol.
Gollum.
Oh, I apologize. I really hope so. I think we do, and it's when we don't expect it.
Oh, I hope he can swim. I hope he could.
He plays a big part of it too, not just a small part.
Skylar and Aaron, I know I kind of cut you out of this one because we have 2 minutes, just about a little over. What is one thing that you think, or one character you just want to see more of? One character you want to see more of?
I'll let Aaron take this one.
Okay, so one, I think, and I didn't hear anybody mention, like either of you guys mention her. I'm really interested for you guys to see Freya's like evolution next season.
Who?
Did I get the name wrong? The girl that works with Luthen.
Clea. Clea.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't think,
because no one mentioned her, and I'm just interested to see what you guys think about where that character goes.
Oh man, she's like gonna die.
I hope not. I hope she doesn't betray him.
No spoilers. I'm just. I'm interested to see what you think.
I have Connor gonna be fear watching the next season. It's like, gosh, everyone's gonna die.
It's a traitor. Oh no.
Dude, yeah. If she's a traitor, that's gonna be a rough one for me. That
And
is
if
going to
that
be a
causes
rough...
Luthen's death, can you imagine?
Oh, now we're really getting into some deadly
I
stuff,
would
bro.
be livid.
Bro, if that happens, that episode is going to be led by Connor.
Oh, you talk about punchable parent. I got a different punchable character.
Kickable Clea.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh no, Skylar, you got 30 seconds, my friend. What character are you excited for us to see more of?
Ooh, excited to see more of. I'd say Bix, just because
Okay.
last we see she has her mind scrambled, and what happens to her? Is her mind still scrambled, or does she develop? What?
Yeah.
Curious to have you guys find out.
I'm excited. Let's close this out. Thank you everyone for watching season 1. We can't wait to get back to season 2.